Hi guys, thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. Now on this video, I'm going to use an image that I downloaded off of Creative Fabrica. I printed it on sublimation paper with sublimation ink, and then I'm going to add that to this tumbler. So this is most of the things that I'm going to use today. I have my image, my tumbler, some heat tape, my cutter, something to heat up the shrink wrap, which I have right here. And then before I get started, I'll clean my tumbler with some alcohol. After I get my tumbler wrapped, then I'm going to cook it in a convection oven. So if you're interested in this process, keep watching the video. Before I get started though, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, then tap the bell and select the all notification so that YouTube notifies you whenever I upload a new video. Okay, so let's start by talking about this image. I did a recent video on this. Like I said, I uploaded it from Creative Fabrica. When I uploaded it, it said one spooky mama. Well, my kids are grown, and I'm going to use this at my job. So I changed it to say one spooky lady. Now you see this in reverse because when you do sublimation, you print everything backwards. Now I'll link to these cups in the video description. You have to use a sublimation cup. And the first thing I want to do is clean it, but I want to move this so I don't accidentally get ink on my image. To clean these, I just spray some alcohol on a paper towel, stick my hand down in the tumbler, and just wipe them down. You're just trying to get any grease or oil from your hands or anything that might be on this off of it. Then take another paper towel, dry it off, and set it aside. Now that it's clean, you want to try to not handle this. So I'm just going to put it over here and leave it to dry. Okay, alcohol dries fast, so I only let that dry for about 3 or 4 minutes. Now, here's my image. For my tumbler, the right size for this was 8.15 tall and 9.5 wide. Now, it's important that at least on one edge, you cut off all the white. You cannot have a strip of white over here or it's going to show. Then I also cut off all the white on the bottom, and I might have a tiny bit at the top, but that's going to extend above the cup, so that won't matter. So to get this placed on my cup, I like to have my cup flat on the table or a solid surface. That way I can lay the image down flat on the table or whatever my cup is sitting on. I wrap this around. Now that helps me get the bottom 2 edges to meet up and the top 2 edges to meet up. Then I'm going to put one piece of this heat tape on in the middle. Okay. So now I'm going to rub around, make sure I get any air out. Really get this as tight as I can. Put a second piece of heat tape here. Then once again, rubbing around as tight as I can. Hold that paper down, and I'll put another piece of tape up here. Now I saw this trick on another channel and I want to try it out. Because the first piece of tape I put down may not have been quite so tight, I just needed it there to hold it in place. I'm going to go back, re-stretch my paper, then I'll lay that back down. Now I've never done it this way before, and they've turned out okay, but I thought that was kind of a nice little trick, just to make sure that first piece is on really tightly. Now I'm just going to work my way up the cup, always making sure that my paper is really tight. Now, I didn't really talk about this. Notice this side has a little white. That's okay because it's over the other piece. Okay, so we're just continuing to make sure it's really tight. And then taping down that seam. Now when you're laying your tape down, if you're pulling it sideways, you want to make sure that you put it down on the top piece first. Then you can pull that across the other side. Okay, so there's the start of it. Now we need to do the bottom and the top. And I'm going to start at the top. So the top of my image extends just barely above the top of the cup and then barely below it. Because the cup is tapered on the bottom, you can wrap this around the bottom. You're going to get a really nice finish down there. But I'm going to go ahead and start at the top. So I'm going to get a pretty good size piece of tape. I'm going to hold it down and notice I'm pulling from the top piece of the paper to the side that's on the bottom. So I'm going to hold the tape with this thumb, stretch the tape, put it down, and that causes it kind of pull that paper in. Now I'm going to continue that all the way around the top. So now I'm just going to take this, wrap it over the top of my cup, and push it down on the inside. Now I can see I didn't leave enough tape in places. So I'll add a little bit more on the top, especially right here. And that should do the job. Then I'm going to go around, really rub that down, just so I make sure that the paper is making good contact with the cup. All right, we're going to go to the bottom. So now this side is on top. So the first piece of tape I'll do is starting on the top piece. Hold it down, stretch it out. And that really just causes the paper to kind of fold in on itself or in on the cup. Now seams can be just a little bit tricky. So after I get the tape on, I want to push that down. Okay, I think we're ready for the next step. Now I've done cups just using tape. Some people will now put painter's tape around it, but I really like using this shrink wrap. For me, it does a better job and it's easier. I guess I should say, for me, it provides more consistent results. And I'll put a link to the cups down below. These cups came with shrink wrap. They came with the lid, some straws, and then the black rubber thing that goes on the bottom. Okay, now one thing I didn't talk about. Let me push this back out. I want this seam to be on a smooth part of the shrink wrap. Here's the seam of the shrink wrap. So I actually want this right here. So the seam of my cup is on a smooth part of the shrink wrap. So I'm just going to tuck that inside. Then what I use is an embossing gun. You could use this, a heat gun, something to provide some heat so the shrink wrap will shrink against the cup tightly. So I'll turn this on, and I really want to start where the seam is. So I'll start right here on the top. I'm not going to have the heat in any place for very long. Now here's the oven that I'm going to use, and notice it looks a little weird. It's on its side. Now the vents for it are down here and up here because usually they're on the side. So I built it up with some wood, and then I actually have a little cooling rack down there. Now my temperature's at about 375. I want to keep it between 385 and 400. So the way I'll regulate that is turn the temperature down, turn it up. If it gets too hot, I can open the door, let some of the heat out. And it's starting to get a little hot now. Now, when I open the door to put my cup in, I'm going to lose some heat. So I do need to take that into consideration. Now, the reason it's on its side is so I can put my tumbler up and not have to lay it down. Do whatever works for you, but I kind of like this little hack. And then you'll notice I have a silicone sheet under it. I bought a really large one off of Amazon, and I cut off some pieces, and I have a silicone mat on the inside of there. I'm going to put it in, leave it for 3 minutes, open the door, rotate it, do 3 more minutes, and then I'll take it out. Okay, so my temperature's up where I like it, somewhere around 385 to 400. So we're going for 3 minutes. I'll open the door, I'll turn it, and then 3 more minutes. Okay, so you might be able to see my temperature fell below 375. Man, these tumblers are hard to make. These ovens aren't consistent. You really need to have a thermostat in there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this for 3 more minutes, and we'll see what we get. All right, let's take this out. We'll set it on the top. We'll let it cool down. Okay, I have to tell you, I have a love-hate relationship with tumblers. I love it when they turn out great. I hate it when things don't go perfectly. So we'll let this cool. We'll hope for the best. And we'll see in about 5 minutes how it turned out. Okay, let's check this out, and I'm going to show it to you come rain or shine. This is pretty nasty looking. Look at this. My shrink wrap stretched and broke. My tape's coming up, but let's see what we have. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Oh my word, that is beautiful. Look at those colors and look at the seam. That's nice. You can obviously see where the seam is. But that came out pretty darn close to perfect. These colors are vibrant. The images are sharp. All right, let's look at the bottom. And any white that you see, it's the glare of the light. This really turned out nicely. The top, I'm going to give myself a B on that. It should have came up a little more. It's not going to be noticeable, but to me, I can see a little white stripe at the very top. Now, it's not ghosting. Ghosting is really annoying. It's just that I should have had it a little higher up. That's beautiful, though. I'm not going to complain about that at all. Now, again, I got this image off of Creative Fabrica. I showed how I actually used this design and kind of changed it in a prior video. I'll link to that in the description below. Okay, guys, I am so pleased with this, and I was so concerned when I saw the shape of that shrink wrap and the tape, but it turned out wonderfully. So thanks for joining me and sticking it out all the way till the end. Until my next video. Bye-bye.